Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack on Productions. Today I, Bancroft, will be going over my, as you can tell by the thumbnail, AoD deck, which is a deck that I've pretty much been experimenting with since set 6. Back then, you had the Child's Wish and stuff like that, which was really pretty cool. Then they got rid of Child's Wish, and then it was kind of like, alright, I'll just move on to something else. But I absolutely love AoD. So when it came out with the anniversary, I was like, yes, I got to put this together. And this has pretty much been it since the beginning. It technically has 3 win conditions, and one of them is just literally flooding the board and just constantly swinging at your opponent until they got nothing left to combo with, which is pretty nice. But before we get into the actual deck, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy our content. Also, put stuff down in the comments down below, anything you want to see us build or potentially make or whatever. Just put it down there. We'll look at it, and when we get a chance, we'll take care of it. Alright, so into the leader. Bobby, leader of the Agents of Destruction. Permanent. Treat Agent Destruction cards in your hand as if they had no specific cost, which means you could technically play a quad color deck, which is pretty cool. Alright, auto. When this card attacks, add up to 1 card from your life. Then look up to 5 cards from top of your deck. Add up to 1 Agent Destruction card in its Agent Destruction in its card name, and to put it to your hand to shuffle your deck. Pretty awesome. So now, not only does it help you self-awaken, it also helps you search for more Agent Destruction cards to potentially play. It is hybrid, so resend 1 energy, draw 1 card to awaken. Now, once awakened, you lose the draw aspect of this. You don't no longer get to take a life, no longer get to search the top of your deck. But Majibu still maintains the same permanent, so no Pacific energy cost. But it has 2 activate mains. One of them, choose 1 Agent Destruction card with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it. The second one, for 3 energy, doesn't matter what color it is, but for 3 energy, choose 1 Unison card with Agent Destruction in the card's name in your hand and play it with 3 markers on it. So obviously we played the 4-drop Vegeta Unison, which normally takes 4 green energy just to play. This leader makes it happen with 3 energy, which is pretty nice. So, Agent Destruction needs to start very strong, and the only way to do that is by using Hachiak's Activate Main. So for 1 energy, discard this card from your hand, play up to 1 Evil Wizard Bobbity card with energy cost 1 or less from your deck or drop area, then shuffle your deck if you went through it, which is pretty awesome. If you happen to play this card, which I've done this before, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 4 or less, send it to Zoner's Warp, and then you can place up to 3 of their battle cards in their drop area to the bottom of their deck in any order, which is pretty nice. So in case they're trying to go with overwhelmed targets, or they like to play cards from the drop, just get rid of them for them. Alright, so the Bobbity you want to play is the blue 1-drop from set 6. Barrier, permanent. You can only have 1 on the field, and once again, it kind of repeats the leader's effect, so no Pacific energy cost, which is pretty nice, but reduce energy cost of all Agent Destruction cards in your hand by 1. So, the leader says you can play energy cost of 2. Bobbity makes all 3 drops energy cost of 2 in your hand. So that leader's effect would be able to play any 3-drop just fine. Now, a nice little cool extra card I got to throw out there real quick. It's a beautiful searcher for an extra card. It also helps you self-awaken, but normally for 1 energy, but in this case, no Pacific cost because this card has a permanent. This gains Agent Destructions in all areas, which also means Bobby's Auto. Reduce energy cost of all Agent Destruction cards in your hand by 1. This is a free play extra card that helps you search the top 2 cards of your deck, add up to 2 Agent Destruction cards, of course it has to be in their name, Agent Destruction, to your hand. Put the remaining of them at the bottom of your deck, and then you can take 1 life. So we now have Bobbity on the board. Let's say you potentially have 2 energy because it's your turn 2. You went first. Got a nice little play out there. You got some searchers out there. You swing the leader. You search some more. You take a life. You play another searcher. Free extra card if you have it. Cool. Take a life. For 1 energy, play Turtles. Very unique. When this card attacks, look up to 5 cards on top of your deck. Add up to 1 card with Agent Destruction in the card's name among them, and add to your hand and shuffle your deck. So, because you have Bobbity on the board, it's 1 energy. You swing, you search again. You should, by turn 2, have a decent hand, which is pretty nice. So, also, I didn't mention it, you can only do this once per turn. So, just had to get that out of the way. Alright, now, let's get into the rest of the cards. Like I said, it was your turn too. You swung, you did this, you did that. Sweet. It's your opponent's turn. Your opponent's like, all right, I played this battle card. You go, nope. Android 13. Counterplay. If your leader card is Agent Destruction, and it's the card name, the battle card being played, if it has energy cost 3 or less, it is placed in the owner's drop area instead of being played. Then, your opponent chooses one card in their hand and discard it. So, it's not big on the idea of, this deck doesn't really focus a lot on hand destruction, but it does jab enough of hand destruction to be a nuisance, which is pretty nice. This card does have an auto. When this card is played, you can shuffle up to 2 Evil Wizard cards and or Agent Destruction cards in their name from your drop area to your deck. So it helps you cycle cards back to your deck for you to search for later. And why would you do that? Well, because we play 4 of the Garlic Juniors as well as a negate. Negate the attack and play this card. Auto. When this card is played, play up to 1 Agent Destruction with energy cost of 2, other than a copy of this card from your deck with its skills negated for turn. Shuffle your deck. Now, you don't want to pull Android 13, but he is a target for you. If you don't have Turtles on the board by turn 2, you definitely want to negate this on your opponent's turn. That way you could play Turtleless. Our other target we do is the super combo Lord Slug, Mighty Agent Destruction, which I only play 2 of. Reason being, I don't want to see this card in my hand. I kind of just want to free play it with the Garlic Jr. It does have unique, so you only have 1 on the board. But, auto, when your opponent activates a counterplay skill, they choose 2 cards in their hand and discard them. So right there, it's another jab at the hand destruction. It's not really meant for hand destruction, but it gets this point across. Now, the reason I chose to do 2, because once you awaken, the leader no longer gets draws off the swing. If your opponent's taking care of your Turtleless, you need something to draw. And if you happen to run out these cards or not pulling them, I decided to go with 2 basic super combos. It doesn't matter what they are, as long as your leader's black and your life is 4 less, and you combo this card, you draw 1 card. So as long as it's a super combo that allows you to draw, that's all. At least for me it was. That's all I care about. Now your leader's awakened. Every 3-drop card in your hand is considered 2 energy as long as you have the Bobby on board. So our first target to play is Broly, Invincible Agent Destruction. Auto, when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less. KO it. Then look up the 3 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 card among them to your hand, and place the remaining in your drop area. That is phenomenal because it doesn't state anything about has to be Agent Destruction or green or anything like that. It's just you look at the top 3 cards, pull 1 card to your hand. So you don't have to reveal that to your opponent because there's no check that needs to make sure you pulled the right card, which is pretty nice. Another one we play is the Bojack. We play 2 of these, which, hang on, I kind of glossed over real quick. Broly does have an activate main for 1 energy. Discard this card from your hand, add 1 card with Agent Destruction in its card name from your drop area to your hand. So it helps you cycle cards back to your hand in case they get taken care of, or if you need another negate or counterplay later on the road, that's not a bad option. Or if you just need another 10k super combo, which you won't get draw off it, but it's a free 10k combo. But Bojack, when you play this card, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and switch it to rest mode. So if your opponent has a card that's definitely a nuisance and it's on the board, boom, tap it, and then swing into that card. That works for me. It does have an activate main for 2 energy. If this card's in rest mode, choose your opponent's leader card, switch it to rest mode, and it can't be switched to active mode until the end of your opponent's next turn. So, if you have the energy to do it, play this card, tap the 2 energy, keep their leader tapped down. That way, they don't benefit from the leader's draw and the attack, and it gives them 1 less card, gives you 1 less card to worry about on their next turn. Alright, I chose to go with 2 Vegetas, because the auto, once again, when you play this card, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards with 25,000 power or less and KO it. So, boom, it's another card that KOs a card, which is pretty cool. It does have an activate main, but we can't use it because our leader's not red, so we're not even worried about that. The next target for our agent instructions is Android 13, the 3-drop version. So it has crit, which is pretty nice. So you play it pretty much for free. You swing 20,000 crit to your opponent's lead. They're going to have to combo a lot, negate it, or just have to take it, unfortunately. So I'm happy with that. Now, this one card does have an activate main for 2 energy. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, KO it, then your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it in the drop area. So, once again, that will jab at that hand control there, which is pretty nice. Now, I chose to go with 2 double strike cards. Doesn't matter which ones they are. I like using both of them. Mainly for 13, but anything late game as well. If your opponent has 2 life, a lot of time, if you're not swinging, if you're not using a lot of, I'm not showcasing a lot of cards with double strike, for the exception of obviously the unison whenever it comes out to play. So most times people won't be expecting a double strike, and I know I fell victim of that. I'm like, okay, cool. You're swinging at me with that single strike? Yeah, no negate. And then they combo up, and I'm like, oh, there's the Champa. All right, fair enough. So it's just there, just hopefully throws the opponent off, or get that double strike crit out. So pretty nice. So that's kind of my majority of my agent instructions, for the exception of I think 1. But let's get into protection. So against an aggro deck, we play 1 protector people. Pretty much 1 energy, you discard 1 card, then every time your opponent swings a battle card towards your leader gets plus 5,000 power for turn. So it's like a Sensu Bean, but better against an aggro deck. And a lot of times, depends on what your opponent's playing with, they may stop swinging, because the more they swing, the stronger and stronger your leader becomes. 2 max power Kamehamehas. I chose to do 2 because this card can be cycled back to your hand after use. So, counterattack. Negate the attack. You may send 4 cards from your drop area to your warp. If you do, return this card from your drop area to your hand. And you can't play another copy of this card. So, that's fine. It's activate main the more important though. So choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than their current energy and send it to its owner's warp. So if your opponent has a way to bring out really beefy cards early on, like with Arrival and stuff like that, this will take care of it, which is pretty nice. Petrification. I've used this to stop a Xenocell before, which is pretty cool. I mean, any card that stops another card from attacking is, in my opinion, great. Also, the cards can't be comboed with. They can't be... Let's see here. If you place a card in your drop area, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. It can't attack, be placed in your opponent's combo area, or activate skills until the end of your next turn. So it helps lock a lot of stuff down, which is pretty nice. So outside the Garlic Juniors, those are my 5 negates. For energy manipulation on my turn, or potentially boosting my leader, I play 3 Sensu Beans. It's nice. I mean, 5k boost is always nice. Alright, so this deck, besides swarming the board and just swinging every card possible, has, in my opinion, 3 different ways to win. The most common way is getting out to Vegeta Unison. Double Strike Crit is not something you should look over. Auto, choose 1 card in your hand, discard it. When you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier and KO them. So if your opponent has a nice board, that takes care of it right away, and then you no longer have to worry about that board. Then you swing into their lead. 25,000 crit. But before you swing, you want to activate his +1, which gives it plus 5,000 power per turn. So now it's a 25k double strike. Yeah, that's pretty nice, especially with crit. Alright, -5, as long as your leader is Evil Wizard, or all your energy is green, choose 3 cards in your opponent's hands and discard them. So if you get to 5 markers, cool, you swing, double strike crit, 25,000, no, not 25,000 on that turn, just 20,000 double strike crit. They take it, they don't, they combo, whatever. -5, remove 3 cards from your hand. Once that's out of the way, and if it happens to get to this point, typically I win when this card's on the board, and that is it. But we play 2 Son Goku Strengths of Legends. You only have 1 on the board, and you can't evolve this card, which is fine. I don't have any other Gokus in this deck. But active main, if you have at least 1 mono red, mono blue, mono green, and mono yellow card in your drop area, and have 4 more energy, play this card from your hand. So it's a free play. 35,000 swing if you wanted to. Secondary activate main. Once per turn, for 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green, 1 yellow energy, switch this card to active mode, and it gains crit, double strike, and dual attack. So, if you brought this out on turn 3, which I know it brings out on turn 4, you boost it up, then on your next turn, you put another 1 underneath it, make it 5, you swing, you pressure the board, you pressure your opponent to combo cards or take the crit, you drop this guy, you activate main, you give it crit, double strike, dual attack, you just swing 2 more times, and that should be game. But I had to include one of my favorite cards of all time, Arcane Absorption. Truly, I've never had a reason to play this card. The game never goes that long, but just in case it does, it's just nice to have. So if you're not familiar with Arcane Absorption, triple strike, which is pretty awesome. Now normally 8 energy, but activate main for 6 energy. Choose one Evil Wizard Bobbity card in your drop area or warp. Play the chosen card, then play this card from your hand on top of the card you play with the skill. That's amazing. Now, auto. When you play this card, if there is an Evil Wizard Bobbity card underneath this card, choose up to 5 Agent Destructions cards from your drop area or warp and play them. And that is the reason why I have no problem warping cards with max power Kamehameha, because I can just put them there and they're kind of safe because I don't have to worry about my opponent potentially putting them back into my deck or something. So, but that is my take on Majin Buu. If you all see anything that you think can definitely improve on this deck, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear the comments on this one because this is one of my favorite decks to play, and I'm glad I was able to rebuild it. So I'll look forward to any comments you guys have to help me make this deck better. And like I said early on, if there's anything you want to see us build, put in the comments down below as well. But that covers for today's video. Like always, hit that like, subscribe button, read your cards, know your plays, and like always, fluff out.